All right, guys, our 50% off year-end holiday sale is back at cogornogolf.com. This is where you get the chance to make huge improvements in your game next year and save a ton of money in the process. You get 50% off our normal pricing and literally like over 80% off the retail value. Our students who put in the work are typically able to cut their handicap in half in 1 calendar year. And I found the same thing for me. When I got a great coach, my game completely changed. I went from lost and frustrated to excited to golf every day, to hitting the ball solid day in and day out. And that's exactly what we're doing with our students. That's exactly what you can do. Oftentimes, you're just one swing thought, one feel, one drill away from playing the best golf you've ever played before. And we've done this now with over 10,000 students to date, and often that same thing works for them. The same thing's gonna work for you. These are things that work fast, that are pretty easy to do right at home. You don't need to spend hours and hours on the range, couple minutes at home, couple days a week. We can completely transform your game. Not only do you get the 50% off, you also get over $2,000 worth of free bonuses. You get the live seminars, the master classes, the complete member library, 24/7 access to the coaches. And best of all, you've got absolutely zero risk because we give you a 30-day money back guarantee. So you've got nothing to lose, you got everything to gain. You can save over 50% off and you're gonna play the best golf of your life next year. I wanna be your coach. I'd like for you to allow me to do that. Head over to Cogorno Golf right now so we can start working together right away. All right, guys, Eric Cogorno out here, and in today's video, I've got my good friend, Mr. Trevor Salzman. Trevor, appreciate you coming out.
Always good to see you, buddy.
Thanks for being here. You guys have seen Trevor before. We're gonna link all his info down below. Check out Trevor's channel. Awesome, awesome videos, awesome coaching. In today's video, we're gonna talk about how to hit the irons more solid. One of the things a lot of players obviously come in to see us about is players struggle with a flipping motion or not really compressing the irons.
Yeah.
And I saw Trevor do this drill with one of his students on his Instagram. It was really, really good. And I often do very similar things. And so I want to guide you through the feels you can have through impact, how you can hit the ball consistently more solid. So Trevor, obviously we put the station in here already. Why don't you guide us through the student you were working with and really what the feels are with this station, what it's designed to do?
Yeah, so I think where we look at a station like this, where it can be useful is, I think there's a lot of us that struggle with excessively, we could call it flipping or twisting the golf club. And I would say if we related that to compressing our irons, where the low point gets too far back, they might be hanging back and they get more of this look here at the finish right here. So one of the things that I think can make it easier for us to comprehend where we actually need the golf club to move in space is the golf club's working on an arc. So if we place kind of the direction the golf club would move right here, I like having kind of a relationship for where I want to get the golf club to. Because if I just go flip this out, I actually might miss this, or I might swing towards you. And I even see sometimes where players will swing so far left that they could miss that. And so just a very simple way of feeling this is, even without a golf ball, is take your setup, present your pressure forward like you're at impact, and feel like you're moving the arm and the golf club in like a 1-to-1 ratio to where the club head stays on the right side of this noodle and the grip handle moves left of it. So you can see this is still in, this is still in a straight line. So this would be working in a circular motion around us, but it kind of gives us a destination point of where we want to get the golf club to. If I move the golf club at too high of a rate, you can see the grip starts to move outside of it. And the club head's almost going to start to wrap around it right there. Yeah. And I think that's what we see out of a lot of players that struggle with the low point being too far back, or the direction's too far out to the right, and vice versa. I think it could work in the other way also. The player that comes too far over the top that can actually miss this. So I like using this as a reference point of where I actually want to get the golf club to. And we can even kind of do it to where, like if I was just hitting a pitch, I'm just going to glide this into the center of this noodle and feel like the club head stays right and the grip stays left. Yeah. Kind of that 1-to-1 ratio right there.
I like that a lot. And Trevor, one of the things we'll reference a lot in videos, and maybe we'll show a good player doing this or us hitting, is the relationship of the shaft to the lead arm through impact.
Yeah.
And you kind of mentioned there where it lines up.
Yep.
Obviously the bad version, if you kind of show us like a bad impact or slight follow through with the club head passing. So obviously the bad version we see is like if this is the left arm, it's the rate at which the shaft is going past that arm.
Yep.
And the golfer, if you're someone who flips or has contact issues, we'll see the amateur golfer have that club head past the arm way too soon.
Yeah.
Where the better player, if kind of let's show us a good impact, the relationship with the arm, we'll notice that the lead arm's actually still in front of the shaft, and it probably lines up where, like a little bit past impact, maybe just pass over the left leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really like that as a reference point too, like when Trevor says working at a 1-to-1 ratio, where that arm is effectively staying in front of and then in line with that shaft through the hit.
Right, absolutely. And I even think just starting off just pitching balls like we said, it's like think about the arm and the shaft.
Yeah.
Move this at a 1-to-1 ratio and just land this into the noodle right
Yeah, you want
here.
to clip one or two out like that, Trevor? Just kind of little slow ones?
So if
I'll
we
move
did,
here for my safety.
So if we did this right in here, we would just be going 1-to-1 ratio, and I'm going to land this into the noodle here. And that would be more of that look right there, so I can see I've maintained that. Now, I don't think it's going to stay there forever, but I think it's a good drill right there. Eventually, the golf club's going to release and pass us, but if you're the player that struggles with this, I think this is a really neat way to start right here.
I think it's great. Let me hop in there and try one. And then I also want to see from here, Trevor, because I think with the student you had, and maybe we can put a little clip on here too of that.
Yep.
Where then we ended up angling this down a little bit, and he was hitting maybe even some longer shots with it. Maybe we'll do that variation
absolutely.
next.
Absolutely.
So if I'm starting through here and I'm struggling with compressing my irons, you're saying, okay, let's take our normal setup position. And as I start to work through, okay, I'm trying to, from my point of view, and probably from like the down the line view, the hands are left of that as the club head's right.
Exactly. So the grip handle moves left of the noodle and the club head stays right of it.
Gotcha. Yep. And so in terms of setup wise, how do we have this here? We've got this maybe like a club in front of the ball.
Yeah.
And then like maybe halfway between the ball and my toes.
Yeah, like with your 7-iron, I would say it's roughly about from the grip length to the club head, and it's just inside of the toe line. So it'd be kind of splitting. It'd be splitting the golf ball and the toe line right there.
From this side?
Yep, from down the line view.
And so I'm trying to get my hands left of that and then club head right. Now in the beginning, Trevor, am I focusing on any body stuff? Would you have a player like, hey, just think about the shaft and the club here?
So I'll tell you this. Here's kind of a neat way. Can I trade you spots for 1 sec? So watch what happens here if I don't have pressure forward. So if I don't have pressure forward, I'm almost going to miss this. Okay, gotcha. So if you use almost landing the center of the shaft into this, like splitting the difference, I have to have pressure forward in order to do that.
Very good.
If I have pressure backwards, the only thing that's going to hit it right there is the club head, and that probably means I'm going to be striking the ground too far back. So it kind of gives us more than just one area to work on, because it's going to force you to get the body moving forward and landing this into that to where it's kind of split right there.
Love that, dude.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, good. A little 2-for-1 job there.
Exactly.
Okay, we like that. So for me to get the shaft, actually hit that, it's very good. So for me to actually get that shaft on there, I have to have my pressure forward. Got it. Very good. So I'm hitting that once or twice. I'd assume you'd have a student kind of do a couple practice swings.
Yeah, for sure.
Get a feel.
Yep.
And then bunt one out here. Let me try the same, just a little half swing here. So obviously when I'm hitting this should be like a little bit lower, right? Kind of more compressed.
Yep.
Little half swing shot.
Perfect.
Yeah, so there's a good example. I mean, I hit, what do I have here? A 7-iron, I don't know, maybe 90 yards. Very low, very compressed.
There we go. There's the key. I think that's the word that we're looking for right here, is we're trying to feel like the club face is covering the golf ball more if we've had low point back and we're thinning a lot of shots.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. So very low, very compressed and solid. And certainly if I were to kind of look at that, I would assume at impact, my lead arm would still be in front of the shaft. And I'm almost feeling like you said, 1-to-1 ratio, trying to keep that arm in front of the shaft for longer.
Yep.
Hand goes left, club goes right. Let me do one more like that. This would be like a really nice way to start a practice session.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, so there I went a little bit longer, but same sort of thing. Very solid, very compressed, maybe a 5-yard draw, about a 100-yard shot.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, Trevor, so kind of slight variation of the same drill. Instead of having the noodle dead vertical, we have it just down a little bit. And this is really the one that I saw you with your student.
Yep.
And I'm assuming this version of this drill, you know, your student that had kind of too far in and out,
Yep.
pushes hooks kind of pattern.
Yeah.
So this would be for the player that has that probably too far inside out
Definitely.
pattern would be very good for them. So same sort of idea here, right? Where I'm trying to go through, now that it's at a little bit of a different angle, I can probably even make a bigger swing here.
Yeah. So again, the purpose of this is to keep the hand path moving and to keep it working around, the arc. So again, you can see the grip is still further left than where the club head is.
Yeah.
Versus what happens to a lot of us, if Eric goes here and he stops, there you go. We can see the hand path stops. The club keeps running,
Yeah.
blocks, hooks, thins, etc. Like this is what I see, and I see this out of a lot of good players as well. Like myself, I struggle with this. So this is sneakily, this is kind of a drill for me, if I'm being honest with you. And so it helps me get the hand path more around. So if I can still keep the grip left of it, then you continue running it up right there.
Yeah.
Basically does all of the work for us right there, and it gives us I'm going to keep saying this, a destination that we're trying to get to, versus trying to manufacture everything and the backswing and in the downswing sometimes. It can be an easier way to relate it.
So I'm still with this trying to, so it's kind of the same sort of distance away, it's in the same position, we just angled it maybe slightly higher than the shaft.
Yep.
And so I'm still trying to feel the same thing there, like hands left of it, club sort of into it. So for you, those of you who are watching who have, you know, you don't take a divot, thins, fats, push hook, this would be a nice compression drill here.
Agree.
So to get to that, obviously I have my pressure forward. Hands are feeling arcing in, club head over the noodle.
And so what you'll notice out of that ball flight now right there,
Yeah.
a lot flatter,
Yeah.
a lot straighter.
Yes.
There's no curve because we haven't let the club face
Overturn and rotate.
There you go.
So for, again, someone who has that push hook pattern, when you do this drill, that's going to feel very solid and compressed. It's almost going to feel like you're hitting a little fade or cut shot, and that ball was effectively dead straight.
Yep.
Let's try one more like that. And then obviously the player who's too far over it or hits the pulls and fades, we'll show a different version of this in a minute.
I like that one. Yeah, we'll go into that one next.
I like that. So same sort of thing here. Hands are working left of that, club's kind of up it. Yeah, that's really solid for me.
That's like a laser right there.
Yeah, really solid. And I'm like you in that I need that version of the drill. Very solid. Let's pause for a second, and then let's shift this a little for the player who's over the top for the inside out.
That was so good the way you just
That was good.
That.
That was good. So Trevor, we have just like a slight variation of what we just did. This is more for the player that has that like over the top kind of pull and fade miss. Can you talk us through how we would do this version?
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to stand the alignment stick or the noodle straight up and down.
Back up, okay.
Target line, one club head inside of it. Okay.
One club. So we moved it from like over here.
Yep.
So we moved it more down the target line.
Yep. Closer to the target line, about one club head width right there from toe to heel.
Gotcha.
It's going to stand straight up and down. So if I'm the person that's over the top, like heck, I'll hit one. If I'm over the top right here,
yeah,
I completely missed the noodle right there.
Yes.
Okay. And so what we want to do is still we have the same goal for both players is how can I take the center of the golf club and land it to that noodle, because the only way that I'm going to be able to get the center of the golf club to this noodle is pressure forward and coming a little bit more from the inside. And a lot of times just by getting that pressure more forward there, that's what's going to allow me to land it there. If my pressure is backwards, I'm going to be swinging too far inside of it.
Yep.
So I think this is a really good, again, it sets a goal orientation for us, where we want to get the club to, what it is that we're trying to feel. And a lot of times we're going to get pieces of the body and how it's going to move for free, just based on figuring out how would I get the golf club to land there. Okay. This isn't going to work. So you'll kind of figure that out right here, like what we'll see. So this will be a start right draw where I'm going to feel the center of the shaft lands into there.
Yeah, beautiful.
There's a really solid penetrating start right draw.
That's how you draw it up. That was like literally perfect. Mid low flight, started right, curve left. And your feels through the ball there, Trevor, like what are you feeling there? Are you still feeling the hands going in as the club head's right? Are you focused on the pressure forward part?
Yeah, so if I'm being honest, I'm trying to get the golf club to this point, number one.
Yeah.
Okay? Like that's, and this is where I think we as people are really good at copying feels versus just trying to think our way through everything. And that's what I like about stations like this. It gives me the ability to create a feel. Now for me, this just feels like I have a lot more pressure forward. I have a combination of rotation with it, but I have a lot more pressure forward because I do have to have some sort of rotation to get the golf club over here.
Yeah.
So there is rotation and there's pressure forward, but I feel a lot more forward pressure. And I think both you and I, a lot of the people that we see that are slicers,
right, yep,
are back here.
Definitely.
They're pivoting on their trail side. And so that kind of sets our relationship for how we can get that to happen right there.
Got it. Let me hop in there, Trevor. So it's more, you're focused mainly on the shaft, like getting this there,
Yep.
and allowing some of that other stuff to happen really for free.
Exactly.
Okay. So same thing here. So this is definitely what more of you need to feel that have that pull fade. Definitely feels like that club head's more to the right to me compared to the first version. It's almost as if the club head feels like it's traveling down the target line a little bit more, again, as the hands are still arcing in.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
Okay, you like that kind of down the line. And I'm almost from here, if I've got that pull fade, almost like you said, like let it ride up the ladder almost.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's almost there. Hands keep going left, but the club head rides up. And then once I do this, so if I punch one out there with that same feel, would you then do the same thing where you kind of lower it down a little bit from here?
Absolutely. If we start getting too much start right and too much draw, we could bring it in closer to that club path line that we have, and we could lower the angle of it.
I'm going to see if I can punch one out kind of like you did there.
And that is a perfect draw.
Really good drill. I like this a lot, especially this time of year when you're practicing and in the off season and prepping for next year. If you got a little place at home to be hitting shots with this reference point in front, I think is really good. I think that's pretty good.
I do too. I love this.
I think those reference points are good. Trevor, appreciate that. If you haven't checked out Trevor's channel yet, we're going to link his stuff down below. YouTube channel, Instagram, online lessons, in-person lessons. Obviously, you can see he's a great coach. Go check that out. Any questions, as always, leave us a comment down below.